Welcome to the podcast, the Lift, Laugh and Life podcast. Today's episode, we're going to be chill. I've got my double act. I've got
the sidekick.
I've got the sidekick. Do you want to be the sidekick? Do you think?
Co-host.
Co-host? I'll go co-host.
Sidekick.
Sidekick seems like I'm putting you down. And
Batman and Robin.
Obviously. But no, welcome to the podcast, Ryan. Obviously, thanks for coming on. Come on, tell us, give us the story. Obviously, you're a gym owner. I know a little bit, but everyone who is listening right now, this is the first gym owner I think we've had on the show, and I feel like because it's a little bit close to home, and maybe people will be able to relate to it a little bit more. I think this is going to be a really good episode. So tell us the story from day one. I mean, you don't have to say day one, day by day one, but day one.
Well, we're a very different gym. I like to think in terms of we base us on being all ex-military instructors who are a veteran-run gym, and we do like just pure veteran hybrid training. So we're not just CrossFit, we're not just functional, we're not just strength and conditioning, we're not just circuits. We try and do a bit of everything, just like we did in the military. I opened the gym in January this year, so we've been open not even half a year. Do you know what I mean? And we've blew up pretty much quicker than I could imagine, which is
obviously crazy how quick you have grown.
Yeah, so
considering you've been open since January.
Yeah, so I've been out of the army about 3 years. I was running this as like a little side hustle. So I left the army. You get like a big package when you leave the army to go and get trade. I ended up engineering, fixing fridges in co-ops.
Wow,
exciting stuff. And then on the side, I just ran this as like a little side hustle. Used to finish work, get in the back of my van, change into my shorts, go take a session on a rugby field. And it just kept growing. And then had a bad day at work, had a bit of a hissy fit, handed my notice in, went full time with it. And within 6 months, we'd earned enough money to basically, enough sort of growth to open our own place in January. And then since January, we've doubled in size. We're doubling in size as we speak now. The work's being done. So we're just constantly growing. So it's a really good predicament, really.
Yeah, mate, that's awesome. I've obviously followed it for a while. Obviously, Joe's the link between me and you. But if anyone wants to go and check out Tactical Transformations while you listen at the podcast, I suggest you do so. So the military style training, obviously, when did the military start for you? Was that from school straight away? And where did the fitness kind of start as well?
Yeah, so I mean, my dad was in the army all my life. So I just moved around with him and then left school. And at 16, it was like, time to join the military. Do you know what I mean? That was just what I was set out to do. I wasn't going to go to college. I wasn't going to go do my A-levels, uni. Did 7 years, left. And then, so when I was in the military, I did you can be like a physical training instructor.
Right, okay.
So you're a dog handler, normally my day-to-day job. But then on top of that, you could go do like a side course, which was physical training instructor. So you take the lads on PT sessions, that sort of thing. Ended up spending the last 2 years in the gym full time before I left.
Yeah.
And then obviously just going and ran this as a side hustle and then just grew it, to be honest.
No, nice, man. I mean, my brother is in the army. He's only 18, 19 right now. And I mean, I imagine obviously there's a certain level of fitness, but it always interests me because I swear to God, I feel like he's on the piss half the time. He's in Germany right now, and he FaceTimed us the other day, and he was like, obviously he had to do some sort of manual labor, but he was like, we're just getting on the steins. And I was like, where is the fitness here? But what's like a regular day sort of in the army, dog trainer, PTI, what would you normally go through, or what do you have to do for the lads when what's their training routine?
It was based on, obviously it's very different in the civilian aspect because predominantly everyone wants to train for physique. Most people go to the gym because they want to look better or they want to feel better. I mean, obviously you get athletes that want to train to become fit, but 90% of the time people want to look better. Whereas in the military, it doesn't matter what you look like.
You've got a job to do and you need to be
the biggest bloke, the smallest woman, whatever, you've got a job to do and you need to be functional to do that job. So the training based around that. So you could have people deploying abroad, so you train them up for that. You could just do essentials. We used to do stuff like tabbing, so weighted bags, tabbing round, carrying for a kilo, whatever. Or like muscular endurance training. But yeah, very, very different to sort of the physique aspect. But what I've tried to do with this program is keep that element of training, so people are still getting fitness assessments, we're still getting people fitter, but obviously a byproduct of that is your physique's going to get better, especially when you coach for nutrition and stuff like that. So we try and do like an all-in-one program.
Yeah, so that's what you do with Tactical.
Yeah. So they do the full nutrition meal plans, like just a very sustainable approach. Just teach people about calories, protein, how not all foods are bad, and you don't need to eat like rabbits, and obviously training. And then we chuck in like fitness assessments and stuff, which is really nice. So every 3 weeks we'll do like a fitness assessment. So we'll do like cardio, upper body, core, muscular endurance, and then it's quite nice because it sort of takes the pressure off having to lose that 5 pounds in 3 weeks, or having to put on so much mass. Whereas actually you might have put on a pound, mate, but you've improved your muscular endurance by 10%. So actually you're on the right path. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's another goal as well as the physical aspect. You've got like sort of performance.
Yeah, no, that sounds cool, man. One of the things that I want to ask you about, because obviously we are all business owners right now here, and I think some of the best stories always start from, I mean, I did the whole starting off in the field, starting off with a side hustle, starting off doing other jobs, like 2-3 different jobs. But how did you find that did you have any business experience before that? And how did you take the leap? I always get a lot of questions and I think quite a lot of the listeners are people similar to us in our situation, might be doing a 9-to-5 job, but they have a love for something else. Like this guy right here was doing a 9-to-5 job and still is a little bit, but obviously has a massive passion and I think a natural eye for something else. But what would you say to someone if you could give them like maybe a couple of steps to taking that leap, and what would you say to them? Oh, it froze.
Oh, this is a first.
Oh,
a little Zoom freeze. Technology.
We're back in the room. If you saw that, it's going to be a little bit unnatural because we cut out there for a second. Wi-Fi connection, whatever. Anyway, the question was.
Froze again. Oh, and we're back.
This is bonkers.
Are
you there, mate?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Sweet.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay. So the question was, before the interval, before the break, what would you say to someone who, obviously, we're all business owners, Joe started in lockdown, you started pretty much after, and it's recent. What would you say to someone taking the leap? There's probably quite a lot of listeners who have maybe got the same passion as us or something similar, have something that they want to go into, but are working that 9-to-5.
I mean, I think there's so much information on the internet in terms of you're going to need a business plan and you're going to need this set out and you're going to need so much money. And I think, like, to be honest, and I'll be totally straight with you, like, I didn't have all of them things.
Yeah.
I had a brief idea of what I wanted to do, and I had a bad day at work, and I'm just going to go for it. And I think the way I looked, maybe it was probably a little bit impulsive, but it's the way I looked at it is, if I don't try, I'm never going to know. And what's the worst that's going to happen? I'm not going to die. Like, I know that sounds so naive, but that was the way for me that I would take that leap. I didn't need 100 business plans. I did loads and loads of experience. I was willing to just learn as I go and learn them and fail and learn and fail and learn. But yeah, I don't think there's ever a good point. So I would say to anyone, you just need to believe in yourself. Like, at the end of the day, you're going to be that one in that sort of, you're going to be the one doing everything essentially. And if you don't believe yourself, then you're going to get nowhere. And I don't think you need loads of business plans and loads of mad ideas and crazy stuff. I think you just need to go for it and just do it.
I think the longer that you sit on an idea, the more likely you are to put yourself off doing it. Like, you need to just start it rather than sitting thinking, like you're saying, there's so much information. There's almost too much information out there. It seems intimidating, and people never actually take the leap.
I think people underrate passion as well. Passion is one of them things. I can't remember who said it, but the person who absolutely loves walking will always outwalk the person who is just walking for an end sort of goal. And I think that's the same. I mean, people always go to me, they're like, how are you not asleep, like doing these hours, doing this, doing that? And I'm like, I honestly don't even feel like I'm at work. I mean, the odd times I'm emailing and when I have to spend a day with him every now and then. but no, that's good. How so with the business, have you got staff right now? Are you managing staff?
Yeah, I've got 5 lads that work for us now, all ex-military.
Right, okay.
Really cool.
So that must be pretty different, because obviously with you being with you being military based, how do you find managing staff? Because I would say I'll hold my hands up. That is one of the things that I think in the PT game that it can be a little bit of a conveyor belt.
What do you mean about?
So, I mean, people sort of think, I think it's going to be like an easy ride, and PT is one of them things that if you're not like 100% in it, you can quite quickly get churned up and spat out, and then you think, God, I really have nothing to do. So how do you find like managing the staff because for your aspect, it's ex-military, I'm sure as well, that they take orders and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, we try and create I'd like to think I've created a really chilled out environment. In terms of, I don't like the whole idea of, me personally, I don't like the whole idea of a boss and staff. Like, me going to work is, I'm going to work with the lads. Like, they're the lads. We're going to go out and we're going to have a beer together after work, or do you know what I mean? And I think the number one thing when you look at taking staff on, for me personally, is not how much money can I make out of these people. It's what work environment can I create for myself and the people around me that indirectly is going to create me more money anyway as a business owner. So I think the biggest thing, probably the nicest thing working with the ex-military lads, is when you leave the military, you don't have the same things to talk about with making friends up here. You don't have, and you have, suddenly I'm surrounded by these lads that have got the same experiences. They've been in the same things that I have. We can talk about things. So it is quite a nice work environment. We give like a really good little employment contract that really helps the lads out, and we just give them free rein for them to grow. I try not to milk them or anything like that, and it works well. And essentially, we're going to keep them longer and longer and longer. So that's all I want. If they're happy, I'm happy. Yeah,
no, that's awesome. One of the things that we've been speaking about recently, and it is something that I'm sure you will relate to, and something that I want to talk about, is the mental sort of, is it mental health? Maybe it's mental health. How do you switch off? What is mental health like as a business owner? I mean, I'm going to go into it in a sec, but I mean, I want to hear from you first on the podcast. Like, what has it been like starting a business, and what are your stresses?
To be honest, I still haven't learned to switch off. I'm looking at my phone down there now, and I've just seen my Google Calendar pop up. So like, I think when you work for a company, you can put your tools down, or you can take your uniform off, and you're done for the day, because if you don't text back, if you don't email back, you'll get paid at the end. Yeah, and whereas if I don't do what I need to do, regardless if that's 11 at night, I just turn my phone on and have a look at my phone, and I've got this to do quickly, or someone's messaged me from the gym, or if I feel like I don't do that, I'm letting myself down. So I think like mentally, it is so hard to switch off. I don't know if I'd say it's probably not possible for me to completely switch off.
Yeah. Is there anything that you try to sort of do, any techniques that you've got? Because I think a lot of people, no matter what job you're in, we're obviously massively on the self-employed bandwagon here, but I think there'll be a lot of people listening where even 9 to 5, because people work crazy hours and people work overtime. Is there anything that you try to do that, or things that have helped maybe?
The biggest thing I've probably changed is I would go in the office in the gym, I would work on my laptop, and then I would take my laptop home, and then I'd get a text, and I could then suddenly open my laptop. So I'd leave my laptop majority of the time in the office. And that does create a bit of a barrier. It doesn't stop me completely, but it creates a barrier where maybe I can reply to a message on my phone, but they've asked me to do something for their membership, and I actually can't do that till the next day.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it helps. I mean, it doesn't defeat it, but it helps. It probably does help. I mean, I'm quite interested to hear what you've got to say, because
No, to be fair, it's one of the things that I thought would be great to speak to you, because I always have a go once a week at Joe for working, not working too much. I don't like that. I'm a workhorse as well, and I think we all are, but it's not working too much. It's the fact of not being able to like get out of it. And one of the things and what I mean by get out of it is one of the things that I've started doing recently that has been a bit of a game changer is the anti-screen thing for my sleep. My sleep is my only vice. I've got training on point. I've got nutrition on point. I've got, I would say, my lifestyle 90% of the time. Like, I don't really drink that much, but the one thing that always suffers for me is sleep. And that's the one thing that we've tried to say and do. And I think one of the things that we've done recently that has been a bit of a game changer is this sort of to-do list thing. So we share a to-do list, which has been massively, massively beneficial between me and Joe. And even for myself, what I've started kind of doing is picking a slot of the kind of late in the day, the night before, for the next day. And just by writing it down and putting it on the to-do list, rather than thinking about it all the way through the night, thinking about when you're cooking your dinner, thinking about when you're going out with like a girl, or like if you are doing that, I think about it when you've got the kids or something like that. It just like takes over everything. But by just one little simple thing of writing it down on an app or writing it down on a notebook, that has been like an absolute game changer for me personally. It takes the
thinking out of it, doesn't it? Yeah. You don't have to, like, when you wake up, you're not thinking about what you've got to do. You've got it all written out in front of you and you can just tick it off. Just tick boxes throughout your day.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that... Go on, mate. You go for it.
Mate. I suppose it creates like a sense of achievement as well. If you're ticking off your to-do list, even if you haven't got everything completed, you still feel like, actually, I can finish for the day because I've completed a few things here.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, the training side of it as well. You are going to answer this for me, but the training helps me switch off. That is half of the reason I train right now. I mean, people always look at like Instagram and they're like, "Oh, do you train? Are you training for this at the moment? Are you training for the way you look?" And I'm like, honestly, it's just kind of a byproduct. I train because I'm stressed half the time.
It's just therapy.
Yeah.
It's but I mean, what do you think how do you find that the military is in compared to owning a business? What would you say? Would you say it is harder owning a business compared to being in the military?
Oh, 100%. 100%. 100%. The military, you're almost mollycoddled a little bit. You're fed, you're given your accommodation, and you do what you're told, and you get paid at the end of the month.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you do what you're told and you do it bad, you're getting paid at the end of the month. It doesn't matter if you're sick. It doesn't matter. I mean, I can remember you can be 16 years old when you're in the military, you get your first paycheck, you can go and spend it all in one night and you'll come back and you've still got accommodation and you've still got food for the rest of the month. I mean, it's an absolute dream. But obviously now, I think I wouldn't say it's harder in terms of like physical, maybe not emotionally, but it is the pressure you put on yourself, I think, is a completely different pressure to, I mean, someone could shout at you all day long, but when you're suddenly putting pressure on yourself and you let yourself down, I think it's a completely different ballgame.
Yeah. I mean, for me, we would probably say like once a week or something like that. We probably say, wouldn't it be easier just to like have someone just tell you what to do, just to sort of switch off at a certain time and leave it all there?
You'd like leave a 9 to 5, which that is kind of what's happening. You're getting told what to do by an employer to then come and do this side of things. And then you think, oh, it was quite easy when I was doing that, and just getting told what to do and getting paid at the end of the month. So
yeah, 100%. I mean, one thing that that I have dealt with recently, and it's something like that. What do you think? Obviously, you've been in the PT game, you've been in the military game. I'm sure there's a lot of pressure on relationships. It's something that I've went through really recently. And I would say that being a business owner is probably the main thing that has maybe made mine kind of suffer, because I think you've got to be a little bit, you're actually being selfish, but you're not being selfish for yourself. You're being selfish for everyone who comes into your business. And I think that's what they don't understand. But what has your experience been with being in a relationship and being in the military and then being in a relationship and being a business owner? I
mean, the missus is kicked out next door out of the living room right now. So in terms of business, it's hard. It's hard because, like you say, you're not doing anything for yourself and you're trying not to be selfish. And I think it massively comes back to, personally, I think it comes back to time management and what you said about switching off. Because if you can't switch off from work, I cannot give my devoted time to my other half if I'm still thinking about, I've got a membership to sign up, I've got this to order. So it is, I think it's down massively to switching off 100%. And that, like I said before, is something I'm still learning and still getting told off for. And I'll close this. I was just
about to say, so does that just mean that we've all admitted that we're shit in relationships because none of us can switch off? then we're shit at time management.
I don't think it's that. I think it depends on the person as well. I think people, yeah, I mean, we are obviously very selfish compared to other people, and I mean, there's a certain degree of that. But I think as well, when you kind of come into it, you know what you're buying into if you go out for Iron, you know what you're buying into if you go out for meat and stuff like that. I don't think we're ever very different at the start or something like that. Like if I was to meet someone tomorrow, they're going to get a pretty quick picture of that I'm 24/7 here, there, and everywhere. So I think it swings and roundabouts. Does your missus train, and is she always train?
Yeah, she comes to my gym. Yeah, so
she smashes it. I think that's a massive thing for whether it works or it doesn't work. To be quite honest,
100%. I think. I don't think, like, when I talk about time management, I don't think you need bags and bags of time. Like, someone will probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's just how you spend your time in terms of my phone. I'm going to face it down, and that is something I'm still learning to do. Like, I'm no perfectionist with that. I'm not perfect at that, but that is still, I think if you can just devote that time, then it doesn't matter if you've maybe spent 12 hours in the gym and on your laptop that day, because that 1 hour then is more important than the 4 hours if you just half-assed it when you finish work.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so true. It's all about the quality of the time that you spend rather than just having
exactly that. Yeah, exactly that.
No, 100%. What is so Tactical Transformations has obviously got a massive inspiration from the army, from the military. What is the average session, and how is it different from like a functional fitness session or something like that? Obviously, I know CrossFit, for example, has Murph, which is probably the most famous workout, and has all these hero workouts. But run us through like what it is you do and what sort of things are a little bit different.
So, I mean, I think we get a lot of phone calls when we do signing people up and stuff like that, and a lot of people will compare us to like a boot camp on a field, and they think we're wearing combat trousers and we're screaming in people's faces and muddy, and I try and explain that it's nothing like that. We have people come to the gym that have never been to a gym before, but what I think the big thing with my gym is we try and get away from the ego side of training a little bit, in terms of you don't need the latest Gymshark clothing to come to my gym. You don't need 100 mirrors and you know how to make your bicep look at the best angle and the best lighting. Like it's just normal people coming to train. And I think in terms of the actual training we do, it's all based on not just getting sweaty. So it will be, today we're going to improve your muscular endurance. How can we improve your resting heart rate or your anaerobic threshold? So we try and look into the training. And like I said before, we still have people that come purely for physique, but the biggest thing for me is feeling better and being fitter. And if we can implement that in the training, for instance, our fitness assessment. So we get like a 20 kilo Bergen, which is like a big military bag, and we'll make people do shuttle runs just to test their muscular endurance on their legs. We'll count the number of shuttle runs, and then in 3 weeks' time, we'll retest them to see if they've improved. We do something very similar to like a bleep test for the like aerobic test. The average session can be very similar to a CrossFit one. Like we do similar functional training, but then it could be a bodybuilding session or very similar to a bodybuilding session where, right, we're going to go and train push or legs and abs. And then it can just be predominantly pure circuits. It's just, we try and mix it up, but everything has a military element to it. The biggest military session we probably have is on a Saturday. So we call it Battle PT. And it's brilliant. It's absolutely brutal.
It always looks rammed on Instagram.
Yeah, so I don't think you've actually come and seen one of them sessions.
Not yet.
We'll get you on one.
But Battle PT.
I'll take some photos, but I'm not doing it. Right,
I'm game for this. I want to do this. I have to peer pressure him to do any sort of cardio. It's unreal, man. He came in once and did 10 wall balls, and he was like looking at us to be like, look at me. Look what I'm doing. So what does that entail?
So on a Friday, obviously when you're in the military, you're living away from home. So you used to do Battle PT, which was big, muddy, dirty, military boot campy fizz, and you had to essentially earn your weekend. So it could be like assault course, or it could be like casualty extractions. So we try and do that on a Saturday morning. So the other Saturday we had 2 big casualty stretches, so proper casualty stretches. We'll load them up with 100 kilo. We'll have 2 big teams. We might throw a load of equipment carries, and it might be like, right, You've got to get from A to B, carrying your casualty. We might even put people on the stretcher and have them carry. We'll teach them like fireman's lifts, so how to lift a person, that sort of thing, and run with them. But it's very adrenaline-based training where you've got two massive teams sort of going against each other. Everyone's screaming, shouting, and they're just it's mint. We'll get you over. It's brilliant.
Mate, I'm so up for that. I'm so up for that. And so with the clients, obviously you said you had quite a few new starters. What would you say is like your 3 best tips for getting someone started in the gym? Like, how do you get clients as well? Because we have a lot of personal trainers that are listening, and I think I get quite a lot of messages from the podcast and some of the stuff because it's a little bit more informative of like, can you give me any tips? Like, how did you get at the point of opening your own gym? What did you do to try and draw them people in?
Probably the biggest thing is your shop front, and I think it can be disregarded massively. I mean, when you go clothes shopping, the first thing you see is what's in the window. And a lot of PTs can rely on just word of mouth or like, and I know it sounds daft, but your Instagram and your website and a decent photographer, well, an all right photographer.
I'm going to leave in a second.
It doesn't, I think personally, you could have the best program in the world, and if someone jumps on your social media and you've got some Google image, I don't know, Microsoft Paint photos on there, it just looks naff. And I think the shop front and how you sell yourself before people have even spoken to you is number one. But like for me, it's just being personal. And like I will say to people, our program isn't for you, because we can put a sign up button on our website. So we speak to everyone that joins the gym. They book a phone call. I personally speak to them. We talk about their goals and if we can actually help them. And not everyone joins. Like, we might have lads that are just like, or lads or lasses that are just like, I want to get absolutely massive. And I'm like, look, the gym is not for you. Or someone that's never been to a gym before in their life and they're really full of anxiety. They've never done any sort of exercise. And I would say maybe group training in a group of 20 probably isn't the best for you to start off with. Maybe in a couple of months' time when you've gained that sort of a little bit of knowledge and you've gained that confidence. But I think just being honest with people and being personal and actually taking the time. I could get an automated system in my business that would say, there's a sign-up link, pay now, we'll see you on Monday. And one of the coaches will meet you and greet you on your first session. But it just takes away that whole personal element of how I built myself up. So I try to keep that in the business and be very personal with it.
No, I really like that, actually, And
that also helps build a community as well. So like 100%. When people are in the gym, everybody knows each other.
Everyone knows me by first name. I know everyone's first name. I know where they live. I know.
You've got a personal relationship with everyone.
Yeah, I know the name of their goldfish, for God's sake.
No, I like that. So the social media side of it as well. How do you manage? Have you got any tips with like managing stuff like that? Because it is a minefield. I think the difference with yours, and I suppose he helps a little bit, but how hard is it to get on top of that? And do you actually do anything personally now that you are a business owner on Instagram?
I do use like a queuing app for a lot of stuff, but I still make all the posts myself. I think.
Do you find it stressful?
Yeah, 100%, because you'll get so many messages and so many DMs and questions, and it can be overwhelming. And so I did a marketing course a couple of months ago, and I remember, and I don't believe the advice they said, but the advice was, if that post isn't making you money, take it away.
No.
And I personally disagree with that, because when I put a quote on our TT Instagram, that quote doesn't make me money. When I put a before and after, that quote doesn't directly make me money, but it's that shop front and showing what you can do with people. But in terms of managing it, like you'll know yourself, it's absolutely hectic. Like the questions, the messages, it's hard.
Yeah, man, it's no, definitely you helped me massively amounts, but I think that one of the biggest things, and one of the things that I preach all the time in the PTs, it's a funny thing, isn't it? Because it's a cycle. You get a little bit busier, then your Instagram suffers, then you get a little bit quieter because of that. And it's kind of trying to, I speak to the lads and the girls in the gym all the time who are obviously working at Scope, and I say like, it's a nightmare, and sometimes you just can't be bothered, but it's a constant vicious circle of like promote yourself enough. It's kind of like doing a sale, isn't it? It's like kind of having a sale, getting loads of orders, and then you put your prices back up full price, and then you don't, because it's just like, if you stop posting and if you don't be that consistent. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Joe Wicks, where he posted like every day, twice a day, one recipe and one post for like 4 years before he like had that, the big break, like a few years, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago now. And he just absolutely took over. But it's something that is massively underrated. I mean, you're the king of it.
I'm not the king of it, but I think it speaks a lot that you are both successful gym owners, yet you are both investing in the content that you are posting.
Yeah, I think
like having me do some work for you. It
shows
that. Shut up, like. No, but it shows that like investing in these kind of things does help.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to Ollie Marchand as well a while ago, and one of the things he said to me, it wasn't about me, he was just having a conversation about gyms up and down, and he says there's constantly all these gym owners that I mentor and stuff like that, and they never want to spend money when it's always like skim, trying to save money on this, which I kind of get when it's like, you're buying cleaning products for the gym, or you're buying energy drinks for the stock and stuff like that. But he said one of the main issues is people don't want to bet on themselves, and they don't want to invest. I mean, obviously investing in a videographer, investing in maybe something to make the shop front, like you were saying, like your front of house look amazing. Just daft little things. Like, I think it's one of the things that I would say, and you sound as well, like it's probably separated us a little bit because we're not scared to do that. Because I mean, I'm really bad for it. I go all the time in my personal life, go to buy something, and I think, oh God, that's like 3 assault bikes. See a designer pair of shoes, I'm like, it's a skier. I'm not gonna get
a joke in Palmer between you and Ben. You're like, oh, this night out's gonna cost an assault bike.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
But no.
I think if you can master the thing is, it just creates professionalism, and professionalism is opinion based. It doesn't matter if there's a guy that's been PTing 10 years longer than me and has 10 more qualifications than me. If his social media shop front is him with an iPhone selfie in the mirror and mine is all this professional media, I'm straight away more professional. It doesn't matter if actually qualified wise that guy is, like, to the viewer that doesn't really know a lot, that I'm suddenly more professional. And that doesn't mean you're lying to anyone. It just means you're taking time to make your business. You put that time into your business. You're willing to put that money and that time into your business.
Yeah.
And for me, if you can manage the two things of being professional but still having a personal level, I think like that's the way to master it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People have formed an opinion on you before you even speak to them.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a good one if you've got creative flow.
Exactly. Sales pitch done.
How was High Rocks? I've seen that you done High Rocks. How did you find it?
Disgusting.
Did you think it was disgusting? I mean, surely that's your jam, though. If you've the military stuff, it's similar-ish.
He had a chest infection when he did it. I'm just going to get his excuse out of the way now.
Like, I did it as a double the first time round, smashed it. Did it with one of the other coaches. Second time round, I thought I'd entered a double, and then the day before I realised I'd entered the men's pro single.
Oh wow!
So it didn't go well, but I completed it, and it was horrendous, and I beat myself up every day for it. But I mean, the event is awesome. It's an awesome event.
I was really, really surprised at how, and I said this because obviously I was with some people that had a little bit of background work and creating the event and stuff like that. I said, CrossFit is doing really, really well, but I said, honestly, on UK competitions, that is up there for, I don't know, the vibe, the environment, like the community. It is up there. I didn't really realize until you go to a High Rocks, there is a full world of High Rocks that you don't know about. And these people are mad for it. It's probably the same niche and the same thing that people are like about military training. Like, if you're in it, you absolutely love it. Like,
yeah.
I've never heard of High Rocks before. You brought Jade up to the gym.
Yeah.
Never heard.
I'll go do it again and again. We enter it as a gym now, and we go down as a gym. There's one in, I think it's September, Birmingham. So we're going down as a gym, but I think it's a nice event because someone can be training for a month and they might not know all the complex barbell movements, but they know how to lunge walk and they know how to use a rowing machine. So it's quite a nice
They're quite basic movements.
Yeah, but it's still, don't get me wrong, it's minging. It's disgusting. It's not easy. But yeah.
I will pay £100 to watch you do that.
No chance.
I'll pay more.
When did you say the next one is? September?
I would pay.
Don't do this to me.
I would.
Oh no.
Right.
Nah.
Even if it was a pair. I mean, you can't split the running, but even if it was a pair, that is something I will do the videography for you doing it.
Oh, it's gonna be messy content.
But,
give me a year then. Give us a year to train.
No man, I saw actually a girl that I think I went to school with or something like that from your gym, and she was doing it. I think that's one of the game changers as well. Again, that retains members as well as getting them. People always think, oh, how do I get customers? How do I get customers? I kind of think as well, just as important, how do you retain customers? And some of the stuff that we do the Sculpt Games every year now. Joe obviously helps out with that. We do like little breakfasts and brunches here and there. We do not really like full on nights out, but little like we'll have stuff, little events. And I saw you taking down a lot of your clients, or at least a few, and I thought that's the game changer. That's what makes someone successful or not as a gym.
Are you ready for an event? Sculpt versus Tactical Transformations, High Rocks, September. Make it happen.
As long as you enter.
No, not in September. That would be a good event.
Yeah. How did
you enter a team, they enter a team.
How did the members find it?
Really good, mate. We do like one of the coaches. We've got a coach called Sam, and he absolutely loves it. And he's now started High Rocks training within the gym as added extra for the members that have entered it, and they'll come and train for it. But I think it's just that sense of achievement, because a lot of people have done, and I'm not almost saying anything bad about marathons and stuff like that. That's a massive achievement in itself. But when you do a half marathon, or you do a marathon, or you do a run, you're sat at your sort of 60% of your effort. You're just working aerobically. But when you're on High Rocks, you are at your 100, and you see from the My Zone and all the heart runners there, you're literally in the red zone, 100% effort for an hour and a half. And it's, I think the sense of achievement people get from that, knowing they put themselves through that for an hour and a half, and all the training leading up to it is mint.
2 hours for you, big boy.
Yeah. 2 hours. Could you imagine my miles on like 300%? The thing would explode.
No, it's awesome. I really enjoyed it as well. So what is next for Tactical? What's next for you? Have you got any personal goals, first of all, like stuff that you want to achieve in the gym or fitness or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, well, the gym, we just started work, so we're doubling in size now. So we're quite sort of limited to how many people we can have a class and how many people we can take on.
Yeah.
But now, because we're doubling in size, obviously we can bring a lot more people on, which would be really cool.
Is that right next door as well?
Yeah, so we just knock the wall down, another wall, go through, and then we can get more equipment, more space. So that's really cool. Me personally, like my biggest goal is outside of the gym. When I was looking into like PT careers, a lot of ex-military PTs get offered jobs out in Qatar and Saudi Arabia and stuff like that. And like me personally, I would love to get my gym to a point where I could say, me and the missus, we're going to go away for 6 months. I'm going to go work in Qatar. We're going to experience that, and the gym still runs in the background. That would be a massive sense of achievement for me, to know that that is running in the background and I'm doing what I want to do abroad for a few months.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
My goals, yeah.
No, that's good. Have you been before?
Not to Qatar, no. So
all of them places as well. I think it looks sick, and they're only growing as well.
Yeah,
they're only growing. No, man. I think that's us. But I really appreciate everything that you've had to say. You got anything to add to that, Gingerino? I need to stop saying that on camera. There's going to be people who are really annoying. No, but
Tactical.
It is. Here is your chance. If you want to plug the gym, plug yourself, plug away. Where can people find you?
Instagram, Tactical Transformations. Facebook, Tactical Transformations 1, and just tacticaltransformations.com.
Nice one, man. Yeah. Nice one. Well, I appreciate you coming on again, and I'm sure we will come and try the PT battle Friday night, Saturday morning,
Saturday night.
Saturday night. We'll go there. Go on a little Saturday disco after
Saturday night.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I'm gonna drag Joe there as well. So thank you very much, everyone else. Hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we will see you very soon. Over and out for now. Peace.
Sweet.